Hello, everybody. Today we start another mini proposal workshop 14, and today it has joined me Greg and Nick. On the Mara board I shared in the chat, I will quickly go over the landscape or the template, what is on the board, and then I straight into get about the process, and finally we will start doing. We'll start doing the problem statement and move to the creating proposal ideations. So on the left side, you will see a basic Mara board. So if you zoom out, this is the entire Mara board. On the up corner, you can copy the board to yourself if you have Mara board account. On the right side, you can click on names to follow up to see what they see on Mara board. And you can also share this information and you see how many people are on board. But the main things you're going to use is the left side. You will have the tools. Mainly what you're going to use is sticky notes. This is this small square, and you're going to create sticky notes, or at least I'm going to create sticky notes on the board, which will then can be used to add messages and description and for ideation. There are small videos on the left side. You can just press play and you will see a little guide of how to use this. The Mara board is confusing. So feel free to use it on your own time. And today you joined in a process where we're talking about going through an entire ideation of what proposal should need. And I created a 10-minute video which goes over all the chapters and the meaning and scoping and about this process, more in depth of that. But today I'm gonna just mainly dive into a problem statement and not touch on all of these aspects. You will find these kinds of videos and sessions we have done on playlists. If you want to see how this project is even built, because it's also a funded proposal, then you can see another Mara board which has a list of all other videos and some description of what do I add in your descriptions, or basically all the thoughts and feedbacks I have gotten and how do I pretty much manage this kind of stuff. And finally, there is a new mini proposal template if this is something you want the new or share to a friend and let him do something. And yeah, and so when we go into this process, so why it's called mini is that we want to kind of scope down what is your big idea into specific solution. So we could get the minimum viable product out of the service or product you are producing or want to solve. And for that, I have created a guideline, guiding questions. In the red, you will see the main guiding questions, which will what question you read, and then you pretty much answer and ideate. We do it in the sticky notes, and then we select the best sticky notes to move on the next question. And in the way there will be some orange boxes which are optional if you want to go in more in depth or just skip to next chapter or next guiding questions. Okay, so let's get into this. What problems or problem do you see? Or if you don't have a specific problem, then what's the idea? And let's do a roundtable. Craig, what is the problem you see?
That's a complicated question. I'm basically trying to simplify. I think if you want Cardano to work, if you want games and stuff like that and NFTs to be used inside of games, there's just not really enough tools that make it easy enough for independent game developers to be able to use those tools. You have to. There's a lot of extra. It's difficult enough to make a game by itself, and then having to understand Cardano, especially because then you need to be careful about security and stuff like that. Like people's money's around, It can't be a game that's got, it can't have bugs in it. Like you can kind of let games have a certain amount of bugs. So it's about standardizing, I guess, like tools that make it easier to work with games and work with Cardano at the same time. Does that make sense?
Yep, there is a lack of standards in Cardano game development. How do you say area? Vertical.
I mean, in a way, it's like being able to have access to a Cardano wallet inside of a game engine like Unreal Engine. I'd like to, but there's a script or something someone's made in Blender to make NFTs. I think it's called Blend My NFT, and it supports Cardano, and it basically allows you to be able to create 3D models that are NFTs. So if I was buying a 3D model NFT, I would like to be able to get that into a game engine like Unreal Engine and be able to walk around it and like look at it like an actual 3D object it is.
Okay.
Stop me as I'm rambling. Right.
Yep. What we did get the gist of that. You're trying to simplify game creation. Rephrase that. But the problem, or how do we turn it? There is no tools in Cardano for game developers, or there is lack of standards in Cardano game development vertical. And so basically, these are the problem statements we could use. And this is just a guiding. Why is that? Why is that? But Ninh, what problems you see, or you would support that idea? And if you do that, then we're gonna already go ahead and kind of work on this game stuff.
You asking me?
Yep.
Okay. For this one or for my proposal?
You have now a choice. If you choose to have your own idea what you want to bring to the table, then we're gonna have a bit of governance.
Gotcha. Can we do two, or you want to focus on one? Up to you.
Let's have more.
Okay.
Give two problems, or at least one.
Okay. So my problem statement is that the Cardano eLearning and decentralized finance ecosystem doesn't support the open source and dev ecosystem outside of Cardano.
Cardano eLearning ecosystem does not support open source outside of Cardano. Did I get it?
So let me know if you want me to clarify that or not, or if you have any questions.
You can. Let's do it. We had a clarification for the other one also. So what do you mean that there is no support for outside Cardano?
Outside developers don't have any reason to learn about the Cardano network from its e-learning support. Currently, we only have Plutus, Marlowe, and Haskell tutorials, right? But it doesn't plug into the rest of the broader development community.
Does not what?
Does not plug into the broader developer community.
And what do you mean by like broader developer community, like different languages, like JavaScript or you're talking...
Python and so on. Yep. yeah, it doesn't give majority of other developers a reason why they should learn and adopt Cardano at mass.
Do you mean, so the reason I used the block cross API was because it was Python. I couldn't really find a way that I could use Python to interact with Cardano. Is that what you're kind of meaning?
Yeah, for example, that is one example.
Okay, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Because I would ideally want to be using Python directly with Cardano, like block frost if there's going to be subscription fees at some point, you know what I mean?
I think that people are working on some stuff. Like I saw on Reddit and Cardano, like Cardano Pi or Pi Cardano.
Okay.
Something like that, but it's in a very infancy, right?
Yeah, I'd agree, yeah. But yeah, Cardano is growing, that's the way I look at it. It's like it's getting there, isn't it?
Okay, and let's jump to Cauê. Do you have a problem or idea you want to bring on the table?
No, Tevo, I don't, but I'm inclined to go with the Cardano eLearning because it's a subject I am interested in.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, then I'm gonna share Motherboard one more time. Okay, actually, Greg, you have to do, since you are mobile, I want to do a voting in Motherboard. And let's do 2 votes each, 1 minute. We select this area. And the sticky notes, we start. So how it works is you should have this thing in your view now. You click join voting, and then you can click 2 of anything to basically vote on the topic you want to be discussed. And in Greg's case, I think you have to basically choose to tell us in the Zoom chat what would you pick. And then we see if we can find a quick consensus. This is part of actually also Innovation Fund. I'm talking about Project Catalyst. You have to make a lot of choices there.
We're like mimicking how voting works.
So, Greg, you didn't see you selecting any of these.
I'm happy to, yeah, I'm having trouble because I'm just on a mobile phone. I thought there was going to be more people here, so I was really just going to listen. I'm happy to go with the e-voting situation because that does kind of sounds like it ties into what I'm looking for anyway. So.
In that case, you are going to make it equal. And yeah.
Hey, since who's on mobile?
Greg Lawson is on mobile. And well, another option is that we're just gonna go with the e-learning. I'm gonna put these down there and let's refine. Oh, nice. What the hell is happening?
I was just thinking about this with Zoom and Miro. If somebody's on mobile, they can't open the Miro and vote. If they have the ability to use their pen or anything, they can just circle something.
Yeah, they can.
Like, which is pretty cool. It's a different way to use it. I'll be back.
Yeah, I'm gonna add you guys on Discord. That's cool.
Yeah, that's cool. And okay, so we selected a problem. Cardano eLearning ecosystem does not support open source outside of Cardano. And now the next guiding question would be, why is selected problem a problem? what it means is like, let's say y is, select the problem, y is the Cardano, why is it problem that the Cardano eLearning ecosystem does not support open source outside of Cardano. And since it's a Ninh idea, why?
Yeah.
What are the first things what come up in the mind?
Here's why. Okay. Number one, there's not a lot of Cardano developers out there in the first place right now. And in order for us to drive the value of Cardano up, right, we need more tools, more valuable apps, more creators, more entrepreneurs, more developers to build. At the same time, there are millions of people, actually 20 million people quit their jobs in the last 6 months in US alone. And McKinsey says there's going to be 375 million people that will quit their job in the next 7 years globally, as many as 375 people in the next 8 years or so. And all of them want to achieve financial freedom, obviously, right? Like many of us here. And they're turning to technology. Because if you're a developer, you are very likely to achieve financial freedom from a job, right? As well as you don't have to go to work in person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if and these guys that they're all learning something, they're all learning something, right? But most of the time they learn Python or JavaScript or one of the most popular coding languages, right? And only a select few will proactively research Web3 and blockchain. And even fewer people will stumble into Cardano. And so if we can build a decentralized e-learning that provides these guys what they need, and what they really need is a job. And in order to get a job, they need work experience. They need real skills. And that's why I want to build a decentralized e-learning.
Okay. Let me ask a question again, and then I will try also to answer it. Why is it the problem that Cardano eLearning ecosystem does not support open source outside Cardano? I would say that it's not actually even that we do not support outside, like open source outside of Cardano, but it's more that I don't know. I wouldn't say that we are lacking support. I would say we have quite strong support and even probably reach, but maybe the tools or the tutorials to get into this are too vague or too complicated, or people don't see the opportunity of making money with it.
exactly. So I don't know how much you want me to continue, but I can tell you the whole thing pretty much. So yeah, people don't know about Cardano. When they when they try to break into the industry and they're trying to get experience, right, to be more competitive for a job, they need internship or they need the entry-level job. However, because of there are internship, there's maybe tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands, but compared to the demand, it's unequal, staggering gap between supply and demand of truly entry-level internship. If people don't get opportunities to earn experience, they will also not be able to gain more experience, right? Because you need experience to earn experience. Most companies are hiring for senior developers all the time. Now, at the same time, open source projects, they always need developers and always need contributors and always need help, right? They'll, like you mentioned, Tevo, they also need support, financial support, right? Because they need to incentivize more contributors to help them build features, bugs, whatever. And so I want to build a platform that, okay, I want to stop there. Any questions?
Yeah. So what you're saying is that basically there needs to be a more simplified way of people learning to interact with Cardano through whatever programming language they're comfortable in. And then there actually be some sort of proof that you've put that time and energy into learning it.
Yeah, what I'm saying is we can use Cardano protocol in the blockchain technology to make e-learning more simple, more decentralized, because there's no single company that can solve this huge gap of needing experience. It has to be, from the people, for the people. There's no single company that's going to tell you, yeah, I want to hire 300 million people in the next 8 years, right? The economies of scale don't add up there. So it has to be decentralized. And one way, right, that one place that has that need is all the open source projects that are out there. But with that, there's a lot of challenges, right? How do we get people in? Documentation, there's no easy task, and so on. So it's not so easy for entry-level people just to start coding, right, and contribute to open source projects. And also, there's not enough money in open source right now, the typical open source, to be able to support and motivate people, incentivize people to continue. To contribute.
So what do you imagine that would look like? Are we saying like it needs more like tutorials, video tutorials, an interactive website that helps? Because they've kind of done that with some like Plutus and stuff like that. I think. I mean, I'm not actually much of a coder. I'm more like a hobbyist who plays around and follows video tutorials.
I think before we go to the solution, I think we could hone down a bit on the problem statement, because since we are creating a proposal, we want this to be the pillar and something what community advisors clearly understand and voters could agree with. And here I already see like there could be some misunderstanding from what we now discard. We could do another voting round. So I think Cauê, Ninh, and maybe Cauê is in here. And I will select all of these sticky notes. And I give 3 points to everybody. And I can give 2 minutes. Okay, no, 1 minute. And then we select one of like 3 of these sticky notes. And the goal there is we are scoping down the solution. So we're going into specific direction. Do we want to like improve open source? Like we focus here on open source developers. Here we focus on onboarding and teaching developers. Here we will focus on entry-level work for new developers, and so on. And so you kind of get the idea of like we are trying to scope down a little. So I'm gonna start this, join voting, and then.
Oh. Time
sorry, man.
Oh God.
You say time's up. I have 3 seconds.
Oh, I tried to get one in.
Thanks, man. Thanks for trying.
I don't know. No, it's close. People don't know they could make money with Cardano is what I selected, but it's not really what I wanted to select.
Cool. What did you want to select?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Well, I didn't want to select anything. I wanted to add a different item there.
It only got 1 vote anyway.
Yeah.
Greg, do you have any specific choice from this? I think it's like, what do you think we should scope down, or like what should be the priority we could focus on? Either open source or entry level, or what else we selected? How to find the financial freedom. Greg, you here with us?
Me?
Yeah. Hey, Greg.
Oh.
But you already said that you didn't want any of them. You wanted your own sticky.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a combination of everything, really.
But if you make a combination, it's not scoping down. It's just making it more complex.
No, it's not. It's just re-saying what all these stickies are. Onboarding new people into an open source environment is the challenge. Like that's okay. So are we looking for a problem statement here? Is that what we're doing?
Kind of, yes. So basically we right now we pick the direction. So from there, from these votes we did got on the Miro board, we will see that demand is bigger than the amount of people who could teach. So we now know that this would scope down to addressing how do we scale education to make teachers pretty much. And in this case, even less of them learning to build on Cardano. And so this would focus on Cardano education. But I would that would be hard for me because that actually did not scope down any to any particular. It just repeat of that in the old end.
Right.
And but yeah, and you kind of mentioned like entry level for open source, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's a combination of the two, which make it quite challenging.
So now let's make Greg. Are you here? You're on mute.
Tevo, you can also pick, what you think is the one that is most simple and clear to understand.
Well, the goal here is to make it simple, so it doesn't matter which would be picked. But okay, let's focus on what we just by numbers got right now. So demand is bigger than the amount of people who could teach. So let's turn this into a problem statement. And so demand, which is actually already a problem statement, but we could rephrase it a bit. The demand for, and since it's related to internship, so it is already kind of related to entry level stuff. So demand for entry level the Cardano development, the demand for entry level Cardano development. Okay, and now we also have another option to go even deeper, and I think we should or could go there and see how deep we could get here, because now I already kind of feel that if you're gonna ask why is it the problem that there is not enough demand, I would probably see a few more sticky notes here, and which perhaps we could leverage to improve the problem statement. So why is it a problem that the demand for entry level Cardano development tasks from that the demand for entry level Cardano tasks are bigger than the amount of educators we have? And my first reaction already would be, I don't think it's a problem. Because if demand is
Tevo, are you the person that does my, are you providing assessments on my proposals? Give me your assessor number. I want to know. I swear to God, I bet you are.
I have not assessed, so in the last round.
I will bet you are. I didn't think about it before.
But if we have demand, I think it's a good thing. So I will rephrase it a little. Like I think the problem is not that we have a high demand. The problem is that we have a lack of educators. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, so let's just rephrase it. And another thing is, now we can start thinking, okay, if we have this kind of opportunity that we have entry-level tasks about, let's say I just need a new wallet integration in Discord because I have Discord community. And that requires, and that's quite an entry-level task, probably for some Python writer, or easy to learn because it can be done in like 2-hour video course, or like. So if we have these kind of entry levels, what results we would see, or like what kind of work could be done? So can we ideate on that side?
So you're asking what is the beginner level type of work that entry level developers or someone new to Cardano can do, right?
Yep. And where it could lead to. This would give step by step knowledge how to connect. This will give step-by-step knowledge building how to connect projects and products. Then why is it the problem that we have lack of educators?
They're not incentivized properly. So like you guys are teaching us right now for free, right?
I actually did get community funding for this.
Oh, never mind. See, and that's why you're here.
Maybe.
One of the reasons, right? Who knows?
True. Probably Saturday morning would be. I will skip that, but I will do these kinds of events. Like,
yeah, but it doesn't hurt, right? It doesn't hurt.
Mm-hmm.
That's the point.
Educators are not incentivized.
Maybe they don't know how to start either. How to teach. Maybe it's too hard for them to become teachers. Sorry, I didn't catch your name. You said onboarding, right? Maybe the onboarding of educators sucks.
But are we answering now the question? Why is it the problem that the demand for entry-level Cardano development tasks are bigger than the amount of educators we have? Onboarding educators suck. So it's not really the why reason, but it kind of is. It's an answer, and you turn the answer into a problem statement. But I wouldn't say that.
What are we looking for? Are we looking for answers right now? We're looking for answers, right?
Basically, we do look for answers, but we want to turn them into problem statements anyway. Then so we could add more like what you just brought up, like or more issues like onboarding educators, and because we are still scoping down the problem statement. Okay, educators not incentive now to educate. Educators don't know how to start teaching. This would give a step-by-step knowledge. How to connect projects and products. So
educators don't have time. Kind of like time and money is kind of the same. Yeah. Now that I think about it.
I will try to turn this also into problem statement now. And so this will give step-by-step knowledge building how to know.
You know, another thing is there's not enough senior developers to become educators. You cannot have an entry-level educator, can you? Maybe you can.
Oh, you can. Not to disagree. Like
because I'm a quite entry-level, and as together we are getting somewhere.
Okay. Okay, I like that. But I guess my other question is: are entry-level educators empowered to educate?
And that would lead back to educators are not incentivized enough to educate. Educators don't know. Okay. So if it sucks, then then basically they don't know. Let's do it like that. So we have this, and okay, ready for round 3. Let's vote. 3 votes, 1 minute. Select area. I will select this area. I'm gonna take this off, and this off, and this changes that. I'm going to take this off, and then take this off, And then we're gonna remove one vote. Only take script notes and stuff.
I've been able to properly vote this time.
Awesome.
Oh, you are slowly setting up your tools. Are you using browser version or you download the application itself?
I've got your board thing open on my iPad, and that seems to work a lot better. And then I'm on Zoom on my mobile phone.
I see.
Yeah, I was on my phone originally too, Craig, and then I kind of like went upstairs, went to my computer to do this. So I get it.
Maybe I should this is mentioned in announcements when Cauê sends the announcements out, that we add that in order to effectively participate in these kinds of events, you might want to have the iPad or computer.
Honestly, that's the biggest issue that I see with every single thing from Cardano to other spaces, is getting your, in developer terms, your IDE, your environment prepared. But it's really making sure that the class is designed for the tools and equipment the students have. There's prerequisites. If you set the rules or set the requirements to attend, then people they know to show up with IdeaScale open, Miro open, GitHub open. There's too much time wasted in helping
Set up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's for all engineers, not just for Cardano. It's like,
yeah, exactly. I mean, it's for everything in general.
yep.
And that's called onboarding, and that we're just talking about right now. Educating, yep. You're just educating me right now how to onboard. So we did go scope down a little further. Educators don't know how to start teaching, and let's try to encompass the previous a bit of because I think the entry level information was nice, so we couldn't had information here related to that. Know how to start teaching. So how we do Cardano educators don't know how to start teaching entry level development tasks. Educators don't know how to start teaching entry-level development tasks for Cardano. How about this? Now, we basically, why the Cardano is permissionless, so why should there be a teaching method in place? I think that's just a good guideline. Even like we're trying to make decentralized and have no architecture, but a little top down, a little bit like thinking, a little bit like guiding people in with different methods does help things go smoother and faster and helps to scale. So that would be my reason to this sticky note. Try to make so a little bit architecture and guidance helps community to process information better. But now, since this side test is completed, so far, what you think about this final problem statement which we reached right now? Educators don't know how to start teaching entry-level development tasks for Cardano.
I think it goes back a little bit to educators don't know how to start teaching And it goes back to like the supply of, there's no entry level work for new developers also.
It does go.
Right.
But now what happened here is we did scope down. So it is go back to the previous, what you just said, but here we go.
We can keep it scoped down. That's fine.
All right. Let's go with this and change the answer into problem statement. Actually already did. So the best style selection was that. And our question. And just filling it out. So later, whoever opens it has opportunity to just read our process without trying to analyze all of the sticky notes. And in this hour, we kind of now created a problem statement. And I mean, this is quite a crucial step because it's the first thing people will see on voting application. So to capture people's attention and clearly understand what the problem or proposal is about, we want this to be quite clear and concise. And I feel like we did get to, well, somebody's having fun. And now then the next stage, we will go to the pretty much doing the same for solutions. Ning, do you want to open it up with how could we solve this issue, that to give the educators the material entry-level development test?
Yeah, the obvious answer is, actually I have a question. Do educators currently have education on how to teach? Do educators have education, right? Do educators have educators of educators? Right? Is someone teaching you, right?
Like
Yeah.
training sessions.
Training the trainers, right? Is someone teaching the trainers? I don't like the word educators. I think mentors and mentors is better, in the context of Cardano.
Yep, I renamed it.
Yeah, thank you.
That's a great observation. Okay, training the trainers. So with what? Like, do we have this kind of workshop? What is the thing we're gonna teach them? Are we going to teach them Python? Are we going to Bluetooth? Are we going to teach them how to meet and greet people?
Yeah, I think it should be like everyone learns differently for sure, right? But I think most people are visual learners, right? So are there like a YouTube playlist, something for them to watch, how to be an effective mentor, or styles of effective mentorship, right? And then actually have practical part where they go and teach class and get feedback on their effectiveness as a trainer. No better way to get experience than by hard work. Many ways. What do you guys think are the most effective ways how to teach someone, how to teach other people?
Yeah, I would go to the workshop site, because actually I feel like that is like most practical work we could do here, just to meet people and then kind of step up, like what you want to learn, ideate on that, how do you want to teach, ideate on that, and then basically collecting the insight of that person who has already tried to learn or already has the experience.
And I agree with you for sure. The challenge of workshop is time. You know that, right?
Tevo, regarding what Ni was saying, what's your experience about feedback from people who watch your workshop? Because if we are suggesting to set, let's say, a playlist, a board for people to visualize the process, but we don't get the feedback, I think that's an issue. So from your experience, getting the feedback as a mentor or educator, if you like, how is this process? Do you people usually give you feedback right away? They have a form? How does that work?
I always ask them because if you don't ask, it kind of gets lost. But there are people who come back to you and send you like private message, like, okay, this helped me. Now I'm doing this or that, and like a continuous discussion, and they bring out what helped them. So I could take that and okay, I should do this. In the very first session, like right now, I'm gonna get used to the feedback. It's sometimes quite similar, and most of that is also like, I don't know, like cheerleading or so, like, yeah, that's great, but not then like we do in proposals or assessing, like, okay, we could do this better here, or you could remove this, or like do this again. Like this kinds of information is the most valuable information, and I do get it time to time, and that helps me to move further. However, I don't want to like force people to give feedback, and like so that's that one side. But when I started, it was very it even like, yeah, besides it was so broken, and like it just started this video and like, okay, let's try this now and see what worked out. So there the feedback kind of morphed the entire series. Like the first 6 or 5 wing sessions we did and tried, they were almost always different, and so yeah, it of course it does help, and it changes a lot. So, but yeah, I don't know what else to add. So basically, obviously it helps, but it depends on the depth it goes to.
Thank you, Tevo.
Yeah, Cauê, in my experience, feedback collection sometimes also not easy, right? Like sometimes Zoom has like thumbs up, thumbs down after the call. That's easy, but sometimes people like send you survey to complete, and it takes 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and sometimes go to spam.
Yeah. Oh, that actually reminds me that I think one feedback I maybe should do is have a survey, but survey is like one question. Did it help you? 1 to 10, or did you feel happy? Was it fun? 1 to 10, and like these are quite like how do you say, like psychological questions, like state of mind questions, and it always varies on your mood and on the day and all of this other stuff. But over time, you kind of still get some metric what goes up and down. From that analysis, you could say, okay, people had more fun in this session, and then you maybe could create like a correlation between it and topic, and or then if it's the or basically you might be able to like analyze that part. And I think that is important to do, because we're right now in this project Catalyst, we're also teaching the intention, like why we are doing this project, not easy. Does this make me money? Because no, just no, I just do it. And for kind of for free, then the goal is that people don't have to pay, they can just come and learn. But now we have the opportunity to put like entire community treasury to kind of fund that sequence. So collectively, everybody technically pays. Even if you hold the data, you paid fraction of like 0.00001%. So I could get this funding.
Tevo, could we make a test in today's session? It's just a suggestion, and you'll see if it works. In the end, we can set up, I don't know, a voting, and each member can cast one vote, and you put sticky notes like, I don't know, 1 to 10 about how was workshop today. Then we have 1 to 10 sticky note, and participants vote on that note. Just to provide a feedback. What do you think, or you think it's waste of time?
Sorry, you are aware of like something like SurveyMonkey or something like that?
No, in Miroboard itself.
Oh, do it inside of itself. Okay.
Like I may.
You like how you vote on sticky note? Yeah, I think that's easy enough, right? Quick enough, easy enough. It's anonymous also, right?
Technically, I would see who typed it in. I have a lot of activities.
So you would see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So not anonymous. Fine. Still better than no. So I think there's two. There's quantitative feedback and there's qualitative feedback. One is just number 1 to 10, like Tevo said, and then qualitative is oftentimes beyond the long-term average, right? The large number average that Tevo mentioned, right? People can have fluctuation, but eventually, anyways, you have average. The qualitative is more about potentially some of it just sucks. Some of it actually really good. Potentially about like how can a mentor improve themselves, right? Like like what you guys are doing here. This is mostly qualitative iteration of the problem, the question, and the problem, and potentially the answer, and so on, right? Yeah. Something. So the qualitative one, you sometimes may want to do with like a focus group, right? Not every group. You don't have time. It's not practical. Quantitative you can, as long as it's practical. The qualitative, where you hope to get a deeper insight. Usually you want to ask when the session sucks, right?
Starts or ends? Stops. Stops or starts?
When the session sucks, like is a bad session.
Okay.
There's no point to ask when people love you, right? Oh,
okay.
Great. Anyway, I don't have any feedback. So constructive feedback is like the hamburger. It's like always great, and then something in the middle that's meaty, that's actually something you can improve, and then great again. If you want, like, you don't want just to stroke your own ego and say, yeah, I'm such a great mentor, right? To join some sessions where it's really hard. The session is really hard, right? And some sessions are just harder than others. Some sessions just perfect, right? Then I would encourage the mentors to ask questions in difficult workshops. I don't know. That's my 2 cents.
Thanks for the input, Nick.
Yeah, anytime.
This problem statement turned out to kind of start improving my own sessions. So let's keep going.
Okay.
Okay. We seem to have a lot of discussion about workshopping, because it's practical work. But let's let's talk about another side of the spectrum. What kind of material we would use as a minimum viable product. So going back to like mentors don't know how to start teaching entry-level development tasks for Cardano. Now let's ideate on what materials could be used to do that kind of work, and then we kind of scope down, okay, which we are gonna focus.
Yeah, the question I would ask is, what is meaningful for mentees first, right? What is meaningful for them to learn, and then trace it back to what is meaningful for mentors to be able to teach that material. So for example, to learn so Haskell, right? A lot of entry level material there. So what does a mentor need to know to be able to effectively teach Haskell? Probably need to know Haskell by themselves first, right? And whether it's Plutus. So have some proficiency in the coding language already. And if they don't have proficiency, at least they can have the right research skills or the right problem solving skills or process on how to get to the correct answer or potential answer. Because when you think about software engineering, just in general, right? Most of it is Google is your best friend, and Stack Overflow if there are questions. So maybe just ability to look through some documentation or wiki or something. I don't know if Haskell has some. I'm pretty sure they have a lot, right?
Yes.
But maybe Plutus doesn't have as robust. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Can I ask just a question for you and Tevo before that? If I want to learn Plutus, it's mandatory that first I learn Haskell, right? Okay. So
am I correct? That's what my developers tell me.
I will assume so. Because Plutus is a domain-specific language built on Haskell.
Right. Yeah, but yeah, they tell me, yeah, in order to implement Plutus, we have to have someone for Haskell. So that's what I'm recruiting, essentially.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, meaningful mentors first. Okay, so one thing you're already pointing at is the material you are interested about, which is great. Another reason, like overarching skills to find research and material related to focus problem. So something where you kind of have the high level of map of where all of these resources are, and basically guiding people to use the tools we already have, basically websites, documentation, GitHubs, Gitbooks, all of that stuff. So educating to share the documents between each other. Sharing documentation and indexing. So that is, so this way they might not maybe know the topic, but they could still help. Like basically what we do in Discord channels when somebody asks, hey, we're gonna learn about Plutus. I'm like, you're in the wrong Discord channel, but you can check in Gimbal Labs or you can check in IoT official channel in this section. And this is most I know, but if this will help, like, oh, thanks, now I have like somewhere to go. He doesn't have to wait for somebody who has actual knowledge to answer him, so he can move. So coordinating basically is what I see from this side.
Yeah, I think ultimately, if you're trying to teach someone how to teach others how to code, right? There can be that can be done by like someone watching, right? Like like I can tell you, I probably can't do this as good as you, for sure. Right, it's my first session. But Cauê, is your first session? No, right?
No, I've been before, but I wouldn't manage to do as
Okay,
people do.
but you would do much better than me, for sure. I can tell it for sure, right? So by just watching the masters do their work, right? Like an apprentice, almost in the old days, right? Apprentice and master, mentors and mentees, having assistants, almost like join on the workshops with the intention to learn, right? I think that's a workshop as a material, almost.
You're already creating that step by step. So first, one course is like, hey, join this session. If we like talk about writing Bluetooth apps,
Yeah.
Hey, mentor, join in the session and just observe and learn how do I teach. Next session, you're gonna teach the same topic to a new cohort of people, but I will be there. And if there is like something missing, I can add more. And this is, yep.
Yeah, and it's like it's very similar to like scuba diving. You guys know scuba diving, right? Like
going underwater and just
they underwater, and then like you don't know anything. You just go in and like, what the heck am I doing, right? There's some textbook knowledge, like there's some documentation. You read it, and then practice completely different, right? Obviously, always like that, documentation and then real coding. And then after you code a little bit, and then you have the teacher show you everything, and then you do it, right? You repeat enough, and then you go on to your own adventures, right? You code by yourself, and then you gain some proficiency, you come back, and you watch, and you watch the teacher with the intention to learn how to teach, right? I don't know however many sessions, depends on the person, right? Some are better, some are worse. And then eventually you start to teach the workshops, the classes, like you said, Tevo, right? And the teacher observes and has the feedback loop for the assistant.
Yep.
Hey, I noticed you did this.
The quality feedback.
Yeah, the quality feedback is right. Not just, oh, great class, guys, great guys. And then, repeat until good. And then it's like, okay, you feel like they are ready to take by themselves, but also mentor others at some point, right? Mentor other mentors. So it's like a pyramid.
It is. Okay. That's I feel like since we already did people there, we also don't need voting, because we kind of scoped down already by elaborating the points we felt necessary. So we could kind of already verse some of the answers. Yeah. So mentors don't know how to start teaching and don't know how to start teaching entry-level development tasks for Cardano, and the solution for here is,
well, you can say with certified mentor or something like that. Just like you have community advisors, same thing, right?
with
How does someone become a CA? They just go through some guidelines, right? Some training.
They click a button, but yes.
Seriously.
Yeah. There is no blockage,
So
and
cool.
I think that's cool. But in order to get the VCA, you now need to do good assessments and maybe even excellence. We'll see how was that changed. Maybe not. Maybe just you need still good assessment, and you're already in the loop of deciding who gets funded and who does not.
Tevo, if I may suggest something, I would say entry-level Haskell training, because Neil was saying about visual material, so training can be anything, not only workshops in that sense.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Although we do want to scope down, but then again, because if you are very precise what you're doing, and then people, okay, oh, okay, this is gonna do that. You open it up and you see a detailed plan. Okay, workshop, it's gonna be in these days. These are the people who are gonna do it. This is how much they're gonna get paid. This is the material they're gonna use. Kind of done. You already have like most of the proposal, and it's clear, and you can't really argue like is it feasible or auditable, because kind of is. Only now is the discussion of impact. Does that have impact? And education always has the highest impact. So every time if assessor says 4-star, not impactful enough, it's just like you're filtered out.
Yeah, originally my one of the solutions, right, or part of the solution was, instead of just doing training and workshop, to be even more hands-on, to actually solve, to actually build something together.
Entry-level Haskell training with
Entry-level
several
Haskell,
mentors
like a project.
To execute on projects. Yes, yes.
Right. Like right now, we're kind of like building a proposal, almost.
Yeah. Okay, but I didn't add that fact in, that having like a higher up mentor and lower mentor or apprentice, and yeah, I'm just calling it the several mentors, and the goal there is that mentors themselves kind of bounce and to teach each other.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. That's a good one.
So
decentralized e-learning.
And that could be a title, decentralized e-learning. But our next step would be going into title. But for today, I think we got the main parts down, and session is has lasted almost over 1 hour. Not actually, almost 2 hours.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate it.
So now it's the point. Feedback. Do you want to give me qualitative feedback, or you?
So it's my first time. Okay, I don't have any comparison, right? So I enjoyed like how you walked me through how to like. So for me, I understand now how you walked me through the whole process, but I understand that the question may be too big, or the problem may be too big, right, for the Cardano CAs to understand clearly.
Yeah.
Right. And I know that, you know, when you're talking to a lot of people, you don't want to offend them, right? But I didn't understand why at the beginning why we're scoping down, right? So making it a little bit more clear, hey, people will just not understand your idea. And I know these are like, you're dealing with people's ideas, and people get very emotional about their ideas, right? Like, no, it's my idea. Why do you say it sucks? Right. So I think like you guys are extremely smart people, and you can build like a very loving way, a loving vocabulary, phrases that you can help the learner understand very quickly. Why this is why we're scoping down, right? And we need to scope it down because it's too large, and it will depend on the idea as well, right? Or even like between Craig and I didn't know how the session would go, right? I thought we can do both ideas. So just to be clear, we just one, because we only will have time for one, extremely likely. And you made that pretty clear, but I didn't know that Craig wouldn't have a chance to talk, right, about his idea. So kind of understanding the repercussions of the voting system for someone completely new, right? But overall, these questions get answered with time, right? I saw Craig probably drop off very early here in the US, if he's in the US, right? And or late, depending on what they say. And then I understood, like, eventually your thought process and the way you work, right? They scope it down, make it clear, simple, and mine value from asking deeper questions. And deeper insights. That makes sense. It made sense at the end. It didn't make sense in the beginning. And honestly, Tevo, that's something extremely hard. Yeah.
You mean extremely hard to scope down and on your own, or like which part?
The process itself.
To understand why to follow this process.
To set up, like, this is gonna be most likely the process, like, to preempt and set expectations for the workshop. You know what I mean? I didn't know what to expect. Completely new. Maybe my fault. I didn't read. If there's anything to read.
There is nothing to read. Only discussions. You could have opened that board and like.
Yeah, I had no idea. So I am brand new, like, blank page. But I'm glad I joined, for sure. I learned a lot, and there's no doubt about that. So, was it fun? 10 out of 10, for sure. Okay. And I just wanted to give you some, hopefully some feedback, right, from my side.
Right. And basically we can end here, but I'm gonna stop recording. Thanks for watching, and thanks for joining the workshop.